of 1,000 words in a separate document, and it should be interesting and write it in third-person style. And it should be in simple and basic English. Use simple and basic English, and without hating soft words and D&T, use asterisk sign. And whole story and without heading. The sun over Nareen was pale and cold. Its light touched the rocky land where strange plants grew and rose like sharp fingers. Nora Blake stood near a broken wall, watching a group of Zellar speak in their low, strange voices. She held a small recording device, but she did not use it. Her eyes did the real recording. This was 2 weeks before the meeting on the horizon. Nora had been sent to Nareen as an assistant, at least that was her title. In truth, she had been watching everything. Others were focused on safety and supplies. Nora listened. She watched. She took quiet notes in her mind. The Zelari moved slowly. Their robes made no sound. When they spoke, they paused often. They used silence like a tool. Most humans grew nervous and filled the silence with more words. The Zelari did not like that. Nora had seen the first human mistake. A young officer had shouted during a talk. The Zelari had closed their eyes and walked away. They never spoke to him again. After that, Nora stopped trying to talk. She started to learn. She spent hours near the trade site. She sat with local workers. She traded small items for stories. The Zelari would not speak of their laws, but they would speak of dreams. Nora listened to dreams. In dreams, she found meaning. One night, she sat by the small river that cut through the outpost. A Zelari woman walked by and sat near her. They said nothing for a long time. Then the woman pointed to the water. "When the water is still, you can see the truth," she said. Nora nodded. She understood. "I see the ripples," she replied. "I see where they begin." The woman turned her head slightly, a sign of interest. Nora smiled. She had made a connection. Back at her tent, Nora filled her private log. Her words were short, but full of meaning. Zelari value quiet. They speak in images. They test others with silence. During one meeting, a Zelari elder paused for 12 seconds before speaking. Most thought he was finished. Nora had waited. When he spoke again, he gave her a soft nod. They started to give her signs. A hand open was a welcome. Closed hand was the end. Turning their foot slightly showed dislike. These were things others missed. Nora shared little of this with the main team. She was not sure they would believe her. They called her quiet. She did not mind. She was learning fast. Then the trouble started. A false message was sent. It blamed the Zelari for an attack on a mining ship. Tension rose. Talks were stopped. Security was raised. The captain wanted to leave, but Nora knew better, and the timing was wrong. The Zelari had no reason to strike. She checked her logs, the patterns, the shifts in behavior. Something else was behind it. She sent a private report to command. She used clear facts and short points. She ended with one strong line. The Zelari did not attack. They are waiting for trust. No one answered her message. 3 days later, she was called back to the horizon. No one explained why. She packed her things. Before leaving, the same Zelari woman returned. "You waited," she said. "Most do not wait. I listen better than I speak," Nora replied. The woman gave a slow nod, a deep sign of respect. As the shuttle left Nareen, Nora looked out the window. She had learned more than data. She had seen something deeper. She was ready to explain what others missed. Soon they would all see it. The horizon moved through space at a slow pace. The stars outside looked calm, but inside the ship, people were not calm. Officers spoke in low voices. They passed each other in the halls with worry on their faces. The last contact with the Zelari had failed. Now, every move had to be careful. Lieutenant Nora Blake walked into the strategy room. Captain Dean Harper stood near the main screen. Commander Drew Lawson was sitting, tapping a pen on the table. Others were already in their seats. "She is the one with the special reports, right?" someone asked. Captain Harper gave a short nod. "Yes, and today she will prove if those reports are worth listening to." Nora stood tall. Her eyes moved across the room. She was used to being ignored. They all looked at her. "We have a new signal from the Zelari," Harper said. "They want to speak again. You will lead the contact." Some faces showed doubt. Lawson leaned forward. "Are we really letting a junior officer speak for us?" asked.
She is not just a junior officer, Harper replied. She knows more about the Zellery than anyone else on this ship.
Nora nodded. She did not smile. This was not a moment for pride. This was a test. Preparation took hours. The meeting would take place in the communication chamber. Screens were checked, sound tested, signals cleared. Nora watched everything. She gave simple orders. People listened, even if some did not like it. Finally, the time came. The large screen lit up. The face of a Zellery leader appeared. His skin was pale silver, eyes dark and deep. He did not speak at once. Others in the room looked nervous. Nora waited. She did not move or speak. After 10 seconds, the Zellery gave a small hand sign. It was a welcome. Nora returned the same sign. "We listened first," she said in a quiet voice. A long pause followed. Then the Zellery began to speak. His voice was slow and calm. He spoke about past meetings, about fear, about silence. Nora listened without writing. She watched his eyes, his hands, the space between his words. When he stopped, she gave a short reply. "You waited to speak truth. We wait to hear it," she said. The Zellery gave a slight nod, a sign of respect. Behind her, someone whispered, "How does she know what to say?" The talk lasted 15 minutes. No promises were made, but there was peace in the words. At the end, the Zellery spoke clearly. "We see that one of your kind listens like we do," said. When the screen turned off, silence filled the room. Captain Harper broke it. That went better than expected. Commander Lawson stood slowly. "I admit I was unsure," he said. "But she read him like a book." Nora turned to him. "No, I read him like a story not yet finished." People smiled. A few even clapped. Later, in her quiet room, Nora sat with her tablet. She opened a new log. Zellery leader calm but unsure. Repeated themes of trust and silence. Willing to speak if respected. Contact made without force. Trust begins with one voice. She saved the log. Her heart was steady. She had passed the test, but more would come. This was just the start. The horizon was no longer just a ship. It was a bridge between two minds, two ways of seeing the world. And she was the one who helped build that bridge. Outside, the stars moved slowly, like her thoughts. Calm, focused, ready for more. The horizon flew slowly near the edge of Zellery space. Lights inside the ship stayed dim to save energy and focus. Officers walked with quiet steps. No one wanted to break the calm. The last meeting had gone well, and now they waited for the next signal. Nora Blake sat in the small communication room. Screens around her showed symbols and waves. The room was silent except for the soft hum of machines. She studied the recordings from the last talk. She watched the Zellery leader's hands, eyes, and stillness. She wrote a note on her pad. Long pause before truth. Eye contact means care. Silence means question. There was a knock on the door. It opened and Captain Harper stepped in. "We have news," he said. "They're sending a ship." When Nora asked. "In 4 hours. They want to speak face to face." Nora stood, her voice steady. "I will be ready." In the meeting room, officers prepared the space. Chairs were moved, tables were cleared, lights were softened. The room had to show respect, not power. Commander Lawson watched from the side. Still had doubts, but he said nothing. Soon a message came through. The Zellery ship was near. The docking was smooth. They brought only 2 visitors, no weapons. Just long cloaks and slow steps. The door opened. 2 Zellery walked in, tall, quiet, and calm. Everyone stood. Nora stepped forward. "Welcome," she said with a small hand sign. The lead Zellery gave the same sign. His voice was low. "We come to see the listener." Nora gave a small nod. "We listen with open hands," she replied. The meeting began. No screens, no loud talk, just words and pauses. Nora translated every sign, every look. She let the silence speak. Others in the room watched with care. They had never seen such a meeting. There were no raised voices, no hard questions, just shared space. The Zellery spoke of a place near their border. It was rich in metal, but also home to quiet life. They asked what humans would do with such a place. Nora paused. She did not answer fast. Then she spoke. We touch what speaks to us. We leave what speaks to itself. The lead Zalari looked at her for a long time, and he said, "That is a good answer." Later in private, Captain Harper met with Nora. They liked your answer. You gave them more than words, gave them meaning. I only said what I learned, she said. Harper looked around. You did what our best diplomats could not do. You listened first. You gave them peace without asking for it. Commander Lawson walked in. I have to say, you surprised me again. Nora smiled a little. Sometimes you hear better when you stop expecting noise. That night, the Zalari left the horizon. No papers were signed, but something deeper had started. A kind of trust, a bridge without a name. Nora walked alone to her room. Her tablet beeped. A message from Earth's command had arrived. Summary of meeting requested. Useful report. She sat down and began to type. They came with quiet feet. They spoke with open hands. We listened with still hearts. No deals made, but peace shared. She looked out the window. The stars did not shine louder, but they looked closer. Her reports were no longer just words. There were stories that helped others see, and soon they would be more than just read. They would be heard. And she would be ready. The horizon stayed in orbit near a quiet moon. The crew waited for new orders. Some were busy with systems. Others stayed close to the bridge. Nora Blake walked the hallway slowly. Her steps were light. Her mind was deep in thought. She passed a group of young officers, talking in low voices. How did she learn their ways so fast, one asked. Hershey reads people like a book, said another. She did not stop to answer. She had learned that silence gives answers better than words. In the control room, Captain Harper looked over new data from Earth Command. There was a new order. A mission update. The Zalari had shared a location. It was a station near a gas cloud. Unknown signals had been coming from it. The Zalari wanted the humans to check it. Commander Lawson stood near the screen. They could be sending us into a trap, he said. Or into a test, Harper replied. They both looked at Nora as she entered the room. What do you think? The captain asked. Nora stepped closer. She studied the Zalari message again. Their words are careful. They share a concern, but not fear. If it was danger, they would say less, not more. Harper nodded. Take a team. Go there. Observe. No weapons unless needed. Hours later, a small team left the horizon in a scout ship. Nora sat near the window. Outside, the gas cloud swirled like soft blue smoke. The station was ahead, dark and quiet. They docked and entered slowly. The walls were old, covered in dust. The lights flickered. Machines beeped in strange rhythms. Lieutenant Carter, the engineer, looked around. This place is running, but no one is here. Nora moved through the halls. She touched the walls, listened to the sounds. In one room, she found a control panel still active. A log was open. Strange symbols blinked on the screen. Zalari script, she said. Can you read it? Carter asked. Some of it. It is not full language, more like signs of warning. She tapped a few keys. A new screen opened. It showed a scan. A small drone had entered the station 2 days ago. Not human, not Zalari, unknown. Back on the scout ship, they sent a report to Horizon. Unknown object found. Station empty, but working. Signs of outside contact. Captain Harper answered. Come back now. We will send a full team later. Your part is done. As they flew back, Carter looked at Nora. How did you guess the warning signs? She turned to him. I did not guess. Listen to how they speak when they are worried, and this felt like worry. Back on our horizon, the full team reviewed her report. It was clear, simple, and sharp. The Zalari saw it too. They sent a new message. You see? With quiet eyes, you hear what is not said? Captain Harper looked at the crew. We are not just guests in this space anymore. We are trusted, because someone chose to listen. Nora stood in the back. She said nothing. But inside, she knew her reports were not just paper. They were a way to connect. Outside the window, the gas cloud moved slowly. The stars behind it seemed to breathe. A new voice was rising in the silence. And that voice was hers. The horizon left the edge of the gas cloud and turned back toward neutral space. The crew felt the change. The air felt lighter, but minds stayed alert. Everyone knew things had shifted. Something new had started. Something bigger than a single mission. Nora Blake sat at her usual place in the quiet room. Her tablet was open, but she was not writing yet. She stared at the blank screen. Outside, the stars moved like slow rivers. Her thoughts moved with them. Captain Harper called a full meeting in the main room. Officers gathered. Some stood, some sat. All looked toward the center. Harper spoke clearly. We found more than data. Oh, we found a voice. We found someone who speaks in ways we did not see before. Turned to Nora. Stand here, please. She stepped forward. No fear in her steps. Just calm, Harper continued. You gave us more than reports. You gave us sight. The Zelari trusts us now. They speak with us because of you. There was quiet in the room. Then, one by one, people began to clap. It was not loud. It was full of respect. Commander Lawson stepped forward. I was not sure before. Now I am. We needed a listener more than a leader. Nora gave a small smile. Sometimes the best way to lead is to listen first. After the meeting, she returned to her room. A message waited on her screen. It was from Earth Command. Promotion approved. Full intelligence officer. Field lead. Report directly to High Council. She read it twice, then she closed the screen. Titles were not her goal. The meaning was. The Zelari sent one last message before the horizon moved on. You are now the voice between worlds. Speak with care. You will hear. She wrote her final report of the mission. Her hands moved fast. Her words were simple. We saw them as unknown. They saw us as noise. But one voice changed that. A voice that did not shout. A voice that waited. The quiet voice was the strongest. Later, a new officer arrived on the horizon. Young, sharp, full of questions. She joined a team briefing and sat near Nora. Halfway through the talk, she noticed Nora was not taking notes. Why are you not writing anything? She whispered. Nora looked at her with a calm face. Because you are explaining my reports, she said. The new officer looked surprised, then she smiled. You're the one they told stories about, the one who listens. Nora gave a small nod. Stories help others see. Now it's your turn to see for yourself. The meeting ended. People left. Nora stayed behind for a moment. She looked at the room, the empty chairs, the soft light. The ship moved on, toward new space, toward new talks, toward new voices. Her reports had started with words on a screen. Now they lived in the actions of the crew, the peace between species, in the silence that spoke louder than sound. Nora Blake was no longer just a name in the logs. She was the reason those logs meant something. And far beyond the horizon, in places where stars still hid their light, her voice would travel, not with noise, not with power, but with truth written in quiet lines. And the galaxy would listen. The horizon stayed near the gas cloud for another 2 days. The crew worked with care. Small probes scanned the empty station. Engineers studied the strange symbols. Nora Blake spent most of her time in the quiet room near the back of the ship. She read reports, listened to signals, and waited. Then something changed. A small beep came from the main panel. A new signal had arrived. It was not from the Zelari. It was short and strange, did not match any known pattern. Nora listened to it 5 times. Then she stood and walked quickly to the command room. Captain Harper and Commander Lawson were already there. The signal was playing on the speakers. Officers stood around, confused. What is that? Harper asked. Not Zelari, Nora said. Not human, something else. Lawson frowned. Could be a trick? Could be a test? Nora shook her head. The pattern is not made to fool us. It is a call, but not for help. It is watching. The room fell quiet. Harper looked at Nora. Can you find the source? Give me time, she said. She returned to her station. She used the tools slowly. She watched the signal bounce off the gas cloud. She tracked the echo. After an hour, she found the point. It's coming from a drone, she said, hidden behind the cloud. Not Zelari, not ours. The drone was silent. It did not move, but it listened. Captain Harper gave orders fast. A small team went out with shields. They moved slow. They brought the drone back to the horizon. It was black and thin. No marks, no power inside. but its memory chip was full. Carter, the engineer, opened the data. "This thing has been here for weeks," he said. "It recorded every meeting, every word, every face." Lawson looked angry. "Someone watched our talks with the Zellery. Someone wanted to know what we said." Nora stepped closer, and they did not want to be seen. Later that day, a message came, not from the drone, from the Zellery. "Rogue group spotted, not ours. Threat to peace. Action not allowed without proof." Captain Harper looked at Nora. "Can you prove who sent it?" She shook her head. "Not yet, but I can read their style." She opened the drone's data. She looked at the way it recorded. She looked at the timestamps. She found the gaps. She found a rhythm. "This is not made by a cold machine," she said. "It pauses to learn. It watches our weak spots. This is human style, but not our side." Spytech Lawson said. "Yes, and they wanted to break trust, not build it." Captain Harper stood. "Send this in your report. Make it clear," Nora wrote fast. She wrote with purpose. Every line told a part of the truth, not just what happened, but what it meant. Outside, the stars looked still, but inside, everything had changed. The drone was proof of danger, of lies, of silent war. The Zellery sent a reply. "We see your truth. The listener speaks with fire." Nora read the message. She closed her tablet. "They trust us more now," she said. Captain Harper nodded. "Because they know we face the dark without fear." And in that dark, the quiet voice of Nora Blake had become the loudest one.